G'day, my name's Zachary Ward. I'm currently studying a Diploma of Nutrition and Clinical Advisor for the Australian Institute of Personal Trainers. I have currently conducted the appropriate protocols for the hand washing procedures. This information can be found on the Australian Government website. My clientele have entered the premises and been shown the entrances, obviously, and the exits in case of an emergency. They are also aware of where the amenities are. This is my video submission for my Practical Assessments Advisory Session 1, 2 and 3. These were conducted on the current dates: 22nd of June, 25th of June, and the 16th of July 2018.
Okay, Val, how are you, mate?
Good, thanks, and yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I just want to run through some of the information we spoke about on the phone the other day.
Yep.
So, before we booked this consultation, so just running through your, obviously, name's Iqbal, your date of birth, you're 1956.
Mm-hmm.
Your occupation, you're a gym supervisor, so
That's
a little bit similar role to what I do. So,
That's right.
what's, give me a rundown of your day.
Well, I just opened the gym in the morning,
Yep.
early morning, and meet my regular clients, and from there we have to monitor the whole area,
Yeah.
basically for safety and all this, and also help people using the machines
Okay, cool.
and look after the machines and make sure everything's working fine.
Yeah.
All that sort of
Easy,
thing.
easy,
That sort of thing.
easy. Are you running any classes or anything like that? Or?
At the moment, I'm not, but I used to.
Yeah.
At the moment, I just do the supervising.
Yeah,
Yep.
awesome, man, awesome. Now, also, your weight is 63 kilos?
Yes, just about.
Yeah,
60,
perfect.
yeah.
Height is 167 centimetres, about 5'6".
5'6".
Awesome. And just want to run through your goals quickly. So, there's two goals here, and we'll go through one specifically and then the other one specifically a little bit later on.
Yeah.
So, your first goal is essentially to put on 5 kilos of lean mass.
Yes, if I could.
If you could, yeah,
That's
look
my,
good.
My aim.
Yeah, curls for the girls sort of thing.
Yeah. Lean mass.
Lean mass. Okay, that's easy. That's very easily done.
Yep.
And the other goal of yours is you've just completed Ramadan,
Yeah.
essentially.
I have it.
So that's from the Muslim culture.
Yes.
Yep. And something you were saying before is that maybe for next Ramadan you'd like to prepare a bit
More better.
better. Yeah, like so.
We fast
Getting
the whole day.
the fast. Yeah, so you can't eat or drink through Ramadan. Is that?
Also, yeah, no water, no food for basically from sunrise to sunset. Yeah.
You're a braver man than me. I
Yes.
think I would collapse.
Yeah.
But yeah. So essentially preparing for that. So you can eat at certain times though. So you can eat. So was it like something like 5?
From basically in Sydney, it happening nowadays from 5 to 5.
Okay, 5 to 5. Okay, cool. Essentially, you want to get in some good nutrients before 5 a.m.
Yep.
And then so just something to keep you going all day because there's no food or water. Is that
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
That
we
is-
try to have good food, but you're the expert, so that's why I've come to you for advice. So
Yeah.
next year I'll be prepared.
Next year, be prepared. Awesome. All right, mate. All right, Iqbal. So I just ran some calculations on your BMR.
Yep.
So your BMR is basal metabolic rate. Essentially, you're running around 1,350 calories a day, and this is essentially for your body to just maintain homeostasis. So say if you were to lay in a bed all day, so just breathing and sort of staying alive, essentially, that's what your body would consume energy-wise to keep you alive. So running off that, obviously though, you're a busy man, you work in a gym, go to and from work, you've got a family to look after, lawns to mow and all sorts of things like that. So
family work.
Family, yeah. So you'd essentially be burning a lot more calories than just your BMR, as most people do in their day-to-day life.
Yeah.
So what I calculated here was your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure. And so we got your calculations here at about 2,110 calories per day,
Yeah.
essentially. So that's a decent amount of food for someone your size because your activity level as well.
Yeah.
So that is what you could consume just to maintain your body weight right now in your day-to-day being. But essentially, you want to put on 5 kilos of lean mass. And that is through
If I want to do it,
nutrition and training stimulus. And obviously rest as well, because when you train, you give yourself the correct nutrition, and then when you rest, you essentially, your body repairs itself and you grow, and you essentially grow that lean mass that we're all essentially looking for. So what I've made a calculation here with your TDEE, total daily energy expenditure, to put on 0.5 kilos of lean mass per week. That's essentially the sweet spot. If you put on anywhere up to a kilo per week, a lot of that can actually be more fat and fluids.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, like we don't want to put on fat, body fat. Like obviously you're going to put on a little bit of body fat when it comes to a lean mass phase, but that's inevitable, but you want to minimise that as much as possible.
Yeah.
So it's about doing things, taking your time and getting gradual results and trying to get, results that stay instead of, everyone wants quick results.
Yes.
And quick results also leave quickly as well. So they're not maintainable. So essentially your total daily energy expenditure on 0.5, or putting on 0.5 kilos per week, we're looking at around 2,614 calories per day.
Okay.
So that's quite a lot of food.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So with that sort of amount of food, you could, what would be your sort of daily diet essentially like?
Well, I normally eat 3 times a day. Is that enough
3 times
to maintain this kind of?
Look, you could have 3 bigger meals essentially.
3 bigger meals? Or if I break it down to say 4 or 6 meals, how often should I eat?
Well, that's very easy. So I say to people, I like to get people eating around 6 times a day, and we do sort of without even realising, because if you look at it, we have like breakfast, and then we'll have morning tea,
Yep.
and then we'll have lunch, afternoon tea, dinner, and then dessert essentially.
Supper.
Yeah. So people just think most people actually are already eating 6 meals a day without even realising. You know what I mean? So that's why I look at it just like
In between snacks.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because that's still a meal essentially. So
3 big meals I have: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But in between
we can
Try to
start
have a
adding a little.
banana.
Yeah, exactly right. So
avocado,
polyunsaturated, monosaturated
Yeah.
fats, nuts, banana. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, mixed
Glycogen,
nuts.
perfect, man, 100%. So and that's also nutritionally dense food, which is fantastic to help get that calorie intake in.
Yeah.
Awesome. So according to Australian dietary guidelines, a man of your stature, so your age, roughly we are looking at getting you to consume around 64 grams of protein per day.
Right.
So that's according to Australian dietary guidelines. Your fluid intake should be around 2.6 litres per day.
6 liters. I'm living it off. Yeah.
A little bit off. How much
Okay,
water are you
less.
consuming?
2.6, maybe 2 liters.
2.
Yeah, I drink less. It's a bad habit.
Yeah. I know.
Should
Sometimes
drink
it's
more.
hard to get a bit
Should
of
drink
water.
more. Eh?
Yeah, definitely. And fibre is a big one, because what we obviously need to eat needs to come out eventually.
Yep.
So being regular is actually very healthy for you. So roughly around 30 grams of fibre a day.
So that would be like bowl of cereal or
Yeah, definitely.
Wheat
Like
bix.
lots of oats, wheat bix,
Oh.
lots of fibre, and there's also like fibre supplements essentially. Psyllium husk, which is good. You can add into your. Have you heard of that Metamucil? That's like
I have occasionally Metamucil.
Yeah. So I have it too. I think it keeps me regular, keeps me good. It's good fibristic bulk for your insides. And then I just get the unflavoured psyllium husk and put that in my oats. A little bit more. Yeah.
Or fruit.
Yeah, you get the orange flavouring, you drink that. That's actually, it sort of tastes like potty's cordial, but there's no added, it's gluten free, and there's no added sugar.
Yeah.
So it's just sweetened with stevia, which is fantastic. So yeah, that's essentially that. And essentially here's.
Psyllium husk, just ask you a question.
Yeah.
I was always thinking under the idea of that people have problem like with constipation. They usually have, but it's not the case. You can have every day for good health.
Yes, exactly
Habit.
right. Yeah, 100%. I think people sort of get like psyllium husk like confused with like laxative, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a hardcore
It's
sort of
not.
pharmaceutical way. Like, I don't know what people do, but the people, I think sometimes it can have that connotation, but it's not. It's 100% perfect.
You can have with
Yeah.
your syrup.
Absolutely, man. I put it in my oats all the time, so just a little bit more fibre for the day.
Good.
Yeah. So anyway, so just we move over here. So I've just put on some serving sizes of legumes, fruit, grains, meats, dairy, and discretionary items according to the Australian Dietary Guidelines, which is all on the internet, on the Australian Government website. And so this is essentially going to give you a bit of an overview of what you should be consuming per day to help sort of make that caloric need you need to put on that lean mass. So essentially, per day, someone of your age should be consuming around 5.5 servings of vegetables, legumes, and beans per day. Fruit should be around 2 servings. It's probably good to get that in before and after a workout personally. So, you know, that quick glycogen fix sort of thing.
Yeah, I try to have fruit. Someday I have only a banana, but I try to have an apple when I go home. So
Yeah.
So that would be
It's good, definitely, man. You're definitely on the right track. Grains, whole grains, especially so, like to see you get cereals, like your Wheat Bix, all sorts of bits and pieces like that. So essentially 6 serves of those a day, which is actually quite a lot, which is fantastic. Lean meats, fish, poultry, eggs, nuts, seeds, all that good stuff. 2.5 servings per day. Your dairy, 2.5 servings per day.
I drink milk before going to bed.
Yeah, nice.
Just a big mug.
Yep.
And also I eat eggs almost every day. Is that all right in my age?
Yeah, it definitely is, man. As long as you watch your cholesterol, because it does have cholesterol in the whole egg. If you were to say have a cholesterol problem, or I don't know, do you have a cholesterol? Have you ever, or say your family ever had a cholesterol problem? Or
Yes, my mother has. So I was on the margin.
Yeah.
And then I took less for a while, and then now I'm all right because I'm taking medicine.
Yeah, perfect.
And then I love eggs. You know?
Oh, eggs are beautiful, man. And don't get me wrong, the whole eggs are very healthy. Like the amount of, you know, the cholesterol in that is actually can be quite good for you in certain amounts. You know what I mean? So 100%. If you're ever concerned about the amount of cholesterol that you're taking in, just go back to the doctor, see your local GP, book in,
And check it out.
get some blood tests done, run some blood, and just to know exactly where you
every
are.
year I have blood tests.
Yeah, perfect.
At the moment it's staying under.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's really good. So, yeah. And the last one is discretionary items. So this is essentially 0.5 to 2.5 servings per day. And that's like
What was that?
discretionary. So that's like chips, snacks, chips and like lollies.
Occasionally I tend to have
Yeah, we all sort of do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, 100%. But, so that's a bit of a guideline for you to sort of start like thinking where you're going to get these extra calories from for you to achieve your goals of putting on the lean mass.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Righty, Bombay. So, another important fact, obviously, about nailing down the nutrition correctly for putting on that lean mass that you want to do, obviously, putting on that lean muscle, is the stimulus behind the training. So essentially, you're going to need to train to put strain on the muscle fibers to break them down, then to have them prepared. Grow new fibers. Exactly right. So essentially, the best way to do that is all through compound movements. So this is the oldest sort of style of training there is, essentially, that goes way back when. So essentially, I want you on a 4-day-a-week training split. So there's going to be compound movements of 2 upper bodies and 2 lower body days. And essentially, we're going to be focusing on deadlift, squat, bent over rows, overhead shoulder press, deadlifts, and a little bit of accessory work on the side, like bicep, tricep curl, all sort of good stuff. But essentially, we want most bang for buck in your workouts. And things with these massive sort of compound lifts, essentially, squatting actually works your whole body. A lot of people think, oh, you're just working your legs, your quads and your glutes. It's actually your whole body. And same with deadlifting. 100%. So very taxing on the central nervous system. So it's correct to have the correct amount of rest, the prescribed rest between the days. But essentially, this is going to complement the good nutrition that you're going to be doing to put on that lean mass. So that's very, very simple. Any questions about the training?
Yeah, just one thing. The squatting, in my sort of like movement and posture, I have difficulty in maintaining the correct posture when I'm squatting. I tried. So I compensate with other things like kettlebell farmer's walk. Or lunges with weights. Is that like complements the squat?
Look, essentially, so if you wanted to break it down, you can break down. So, like after this, we can actually go down and actually show you how to squat correctly.
So normally
what I'll do with a lot of people have core mobility and range of motion
Yeah.
in their ankle. So essentially, you can elevate your ankles with 2.5 kilo plates,
Yeah.
and actually elevates, which allows your body to straighten up essentially. And then also you can, with a lot of people squat high bar.
Yeah.
But then actually, if you learn to squat low bar and actually lock yourself in, your weights actually have a lower center of gravity, and your arms actually lock it in. So essentially, instead of the bar going over your trap, it's going to be the barbell will be going over. Essentially, your rear delts. No, behind.
Oh, behind.
So essentially, it actually keeps you upright more and allows you to sit into the hole when your feet are elevated slightly on plates. So a lot of people actually don't realise that, and we'll actually show you after this to see if that can help critique your technique.
That'll be very good.
It'll actually help push your legs out as well,
Yep.
and for you to come into the hole and back out.
I tried to do squatting, but my upper back is a little bit
Rounding a lot? Yeah, 100%. And I personally think low bar squatting would be much more beneficial for you. But apart from that, there's always variations as well, like goblet squats and things. Like you can also do, like when you have a dumbbell, essentially you hold it up into your chest just like that. Yep, exactly right.
And I can use the seat to touch.
Yeah, definitely. Box squats, all very, very good. But yeah, awesome, man. All right.
That'd be fantastic, actually.
All right, Iqbal. So the other goal, essentially, that you wanted to look at achieving is essentially for your next Ramadan fast.
Yeah.
So for next year. So you just come off Ramadan.
Yep, we finished.
Finished up. Yep. Awesome. So can you just give us a bit more background, like on your religious beliefs and sort of like why you do Ramadan?
It came family-wise,
Yep.
down from my grandfather, beyond him, and then it came. Number one. Number two is, as I've grown older, I've studied all these things. Why do we follow them? I should know more. So I found out that our prophet, he actually put like this, that we should fast once a year, 30 days, to reward ourselves with the good deeds and control our emotions, our instincts, bad instincts, and be a good man and serve the community, don't tell lies and all these things. While you are fasting, you're always obliged to do good things. And I feel better in the tummy as well, except only the dangerous thing is water. But we practiced. We practiced, so we feel a little bit run down towards the end, but got over it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, it's a religious thing, belief.
Yeah.
One of the pillars. It's one of the pillars of Islam.
Yep.
Islam is on 4 pillars. It's one of the pillars. Fasting every month.
Wow. And how did you essentially feel? Like, obviously, going without food is one thing. How did you feel going without water? Like, obviously, just at like putting religious beliefs aside.
Yeah.
Just like physically, how did you feel?
Physically, I feel it's very hard. It's really hard to do, and it's dangerous. But we're doing it, but it's a bit dangerous. I feel that because I have a little bit of knowledge about nutrition and all these things. So, but it came down hundreds of years ago. People have done it, and so I'm no exception. So I'm doing it.
Yeah,
but I wish someday. I just wish someday it will be, like, all right to have a few drops.
Yeah.
So,
definitely,
but
definitely.
other than that, we've done it.
Yep. Oh, awesome.
Water is very important.
Oh, water is 100%.
Our body is, 3 parts water.
Yeah, exactly right. You can only last 3 days without water, but you can last 3 weeks without food. So, essentially. Okay, so essentially, thank you for that information. It's fantastic.
No worries.
We essentially want to plan for you to be able to prepare a little bit better.
Yes.
So the days aren't as long. Yep. Awesome for your next Ramadan, essentially.
Yeah, so that I'm prepared and I don't lose as much weight.
Yeah.
During the Ramadan, I lose about kilo or kilo and a half.
Yeah,
I want to lose that, maintain.
Yeah, 100%. So essentially, I was thinking, you obviously can't eat through the daytime. So in Sydney, it's pretty much from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's no water, no food. So essentially, I was thinking that you're allowed to get up a little bit earlier to consume calories, essentially. So I was thinking, even though you were saying before, like everyone sort of gets up a little bit early and has a meal, I was even thinking on top of that, you could essentially get up possibly around like 3:30 or 3:45. I know it's a little bit earlier.
I could do that,
but and start consuming. Maybe have a small meal as soon as you wake up with a decent amount of water, maybe half a litre of water, and then have a big medium nutrient dense.
Before starting.
Yeah, right before essentially 5 a.m.
Yep,
just before, get it in
Before
the
the
nick of
sun.
time. Yeah. And also consume that with maybe hypothetically even maybe 750 mils or even a litre of water if you could get that down.
And what type of food do you suggest that low GI food that stays a bit longer?
Yeah, 100%. So your low
like dates.
yeah. So essentially, more like your whole grains. Essentially, so you could do things like like rye bread, toast, and things.
Yep.
You could even get maybe have a couple of your eggs in there.
Yes.
Which is
We do
lots
have
of
eggs.
protein and fats in those as well. Yeah. You can use your nuts and your seeds and things, a lot of like polyunsaturated, monounsaturated fats, even things like maybe some smoked salmon in the morning.
Yep. That'll be all right.
Yeah, 100%, because it's quite nutritionally dense food.
Yeah. I have sweet potatoes during the dinner.
Sweet potato, yeah, perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice. I know.
sustaining energy. Yeah, definitely.
Slowly,
Slow release sort of carbohydrates. Yeah, 100%. And yeah, so essentially trying to get that nutritionally dense food. So yeah, essentially like salmons, you got eggs, nuts and seeds, yeah, sort of wholemeal breads, wholemeal cereals, maybe some oats or something, and maybe make quite a big smorgasbord feast in the morning.
Yeah.
Consume a good portion of calories with obviously your water, and then charge on with your Ramadan. Essentially.
So basically, I was asking you. I was having only one meal before the sunrise, and now you're suggesting I should have another one.
Maybe definitely. Maybe get up a little bit earlier and consuming another nutritionally dense meal.
Makes sense.
100%. Like you might feel a little bit full there and then.
Yeah.
But essentially, like you're gonna start to feel
body
hungry after a couple of hours. The body will process it. 100%. But I also think it's really important to get in just a little bit of extra water, because going 12 hours without water.
Yeah. But your thing is right, because someone was telling me the other day in one of my workplace that look, if you don't eat enough during the Ramadan and start the fasting, your muscles will cannibalize. Is that correct?
100%.
Is that correct?
100%.
I was scared. I said, what?
Yeah. So essentially, your muscles are essentially, and like muscle and body fat essentially is the first thing to go.
Yeah.
So if you're not getting the calories in to sustain that muscle, and if you're not stimulating that muscle,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So those two things, essentially your body's going to go, all right, we don't need this. Let's get rid of it.
Yeah.
So we can consume it for energy, essentially.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, and another idea, because I think you were working a little bit through Ramadan for the first part.
Yeah, first part, I try to do my work 15 days with work and fasting, and then the next 15 without work.
Okay, yeah. Is it obviously much easier if you don't have to work? Like,
it would be much easier if the whole month we can take off, but sometimes we don't have enough holidays.
Yeah, okay, so I was going to say, maybe try to save your holidays for all that time, but... Yeah, 100%. But
I think it's recommended that you take a lot of people does, whole month off.
Yeah.
Because only not for the energy and all this, they dedicate those hours, stay at home or go to mosque and do the right thing, like pray and do all this meditation before the God and all that kind of thing.
Awesome. All right, mate. Well,
thank you so much.
That concludes us there. So, yeah, no dramas. So, essentially, we've covered obviously helping you put on some lean mass, the nutrition and training stimulus behind that, and going over some nutritional ideas and things all according to Australian Dietary Guidelines with fibre, water, protein, essentially. And then on your sort of part B of your goals that you would like to do is essentially prepare for Ramadan a little bit easier, giving you some nutritional ideas there, all within the guidelines, and consuming nutritionally dense food, but working within the parameters of your religious beliefs. Awesome. All right, so I was going to send you an email of everything that we've covered today.
That would be fantastic.
Links to all of the government website where you can actually get a copy of all the Australian Dietary Guidelines and everything. You're going to have your training plan sent through there.
That's right.
No dramas.
I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. All right,
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time, mate.
All the best.
Cheers.
For your time.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Hi Felicity, how are you?
Good, thanks, Zachary. How are you?
Good, thank you. Hey, look, so I enjoyed our phone conversation today. I just wanted to run through some of the information that you previously gave to me before we get started.
Sure.
Cool. So, obviously, your name's Felicity McElwain. Date of birth is the 24th of the 11th, 89.
Yes.
Awesome. Your weight is approximately 53 kilos. Fantastic. Your height is 175 centimetres.
Correct.
Awesome. your occupation, which is a few things. So you're a nurse, a owner of a nutrition and fitness company, and a personal trainer. That seems like you're quite a busy person. You want to elaborate on actually what it is you do?
Sure. So I'm a registered nurse. I've got a background in medical, surgical, pediatrics and cosmetic nursing.
Wow.
I am also a personal trainer and do run my own company specialising in fitness and nutrition for competitors going into fitness shows. I am a competitor myself, and that's how I got into that aspect of it.
Wow, that's very impressive. You must need 28 hours a day instead of 24.
Yeah, feels like it.
Awesome. Now, just going over your goals. So, a bit of a different goal than previous. You're looking at conceiving a child soon.
Yes, it's time to hang up the bikini and heels for a while, and I am looking to fall pregnant within the next couple of months. Obviously, I'm very committed to my fitness and my nutrition, but I know there are some considerations that I will need to make during the pregnancy and also before, so wanting to make sure that I'm aware of all of that.
Wow, awesome. That's great. And just the last couple of things I'd like to run through with you. You have no prior health issues, you have no injuries, and I'm assuming you're a non-smoker and non-drinker?
Definitely.
Awesome. And obviously, just starting before that, you're into physical fitness and things like that, and obviously, so you would train. So what is just your current sort of activity level training regime at the moment? Can you just give us a bit of a rundown on that?
Weight training, 4 to 5 days a week. I focus on compound lifts, particularly squatting, deadlifting, bench press, and split that up through the week with accessory work as well.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Very, very fit.
Trying to be.
So, Felicity, from some of the calculations that I did and the information that you provided me, your BMR, so your basal metabolic rate, which is essentially what your body consumes just completely stationary, so to maintain homeostasis. So just enough calories to stay alive, essentially. So your BMR has been calculated at 1,580 calories per day, and you're consuming approximately around 1,800 calories per day. Okay, great. So now I just wanted to go through some of the pre-pregnancy considerations. There's a bit of good information here. So one of the important things too is to be active and maintain a healthy body weight, which I'm positively sure that you do yourself, with all your competing and your training, and even in your, like, what you call it, is it like an off season now? Yeah, okay, great. See, I know the lingo, it's fantastic. Choosing an adequate and balanced diet, and I'm sure you have a lot of knowledge about nutrition and things yourself, being in sort of like the fitness industry and nursing as well. But for your information, if you didn't realise, there's a lot of good information on the Australian Dietary Guidelines. It just sort of has like nutritional intakes and things, and we're actually going to go into this a little bit later on, but yeah, it's a really good bit of information there. And obviously being physically active, and understand that physical activity actually has good and positive associations with a healthy pregnancy, and receiving regular checkups is also very important. Okay, a couple of things to sort of like really highlight and to avoid is exposure to harmful substances while you're trying to obviously conceive and or whilst being pregnant. These are things like heavy metals and things. I suppose if you were to be on a building site or you're in a place that was getting renovated, just be aware of these things. You know, these are sometimes everyday occurrences that we don't really sort of see sneak up on us. And obviously, strictly no alcohol, drugs, smoking. Obviously, you wouldn't do that, but it's just something like we have to go through.
Sure.
Cool. Okay, so Felicity, just wanted to address deficiencies and excesses in nutrients. So essentially, it is easier to correct, for example, it's easier to correct an iron deficiency if we correct it prior to a pregnancy than during a pregnancy, if you know what I mean. So obviously a lot less risk and things like that is involved when it's only you to worry about and not you and the unborn child, essentially. So, have you ever had an iron deficiency or anything like that in the past, or?
Yeah, years ago, I had a blood test and I was diagnosed with low iron, and I was given supplements and also some nutritional guidance as well, which was then corrected. But it would be a good thing to get tested. Obviously, a lot can change in a few years, so definitely something I should go and get checked again.
Absolutely. What were some of the nutritional guidelines that you were given, like maybe foods and things that you should have been eating?
Yeah, so to increase red meat, which I wasn't doing as a teenager, I wasn't having much of that, and increase a lot of my vegetable intake as well. Back then, I didn't realise
dark leafy greens.
I didn't realise the iron that I could get from vegetables as well. So
that's great.
Increasing those things.
That's great. That's great. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. And another thing to take consideration of is adequate folate and iodine, essentially. So, with folate especially, it's sort of recommended to start taking this 4 weeks prior to conception to around the end of the first trimester, essentially. We'll go on to how much is recommended in a little bit. Do you know why this is recommended?
I have heard of it before, but can you re-explain it?
Yeah, so this is to actually prevent neural tube defects.
Yes, that's right. I remember now.
Yeah. I think you might have studied that back in university or something. Okay, awesome. Okay, Felicity. So the nutrient reference values state that a woman should consume 400 micrograms of folate per day, and this is either in a supplementation or a fortified form. From about 4 weeks prior pregnancy to the first trimester. Are you happy to consider this?
Yeah, definitely. It was something that I was sort of aware of, but wasn't thinking I needed to take 4 weeks prior to even falling pregnant. So that's really good to know.
Okay, awesome. And so the RDI also states for folate during a pregnancy, so after the first trimester, is increased to about 600 micrograms per day. So good to know. Yeah, cool. Now, obviously, with pregnancies comes weight gain. Now, I think this is a bit of a hairy area. I think everyone's sort of shunned, sort of gets a little bit scared of. Essentially, it's obviously it's something that's going to happen. You're essentially growing a human inside you, and you're going to have to increase obviously extra nutrients and calories and extra fluids. So essentially, you're going to gain weight. You can't lose weight in a pregnancy. So and this isn't a bad thing either. It's not like, oh my goodness, my BMI is cruising up and I'm becoming obese or something. That's sort of not how we want to look at it. So I just wanted to go through some of the weight gains through certain different categories of individuals, from underweight people to an obese people, and essentially this is like weight gain recommendations. They do vary a little bit, but it's just to take into consideration what you could expect, and obviously you're a healthy weight, so we'll get to your stage in a minute.
Okay, sure.
So for an underweight female, she's roughly looking at putting on around 12.7 to 18.2 kilograms, which is quite substantial, especially if she's severely underweight. For a normal, so I would say you're essentially a normal female, like healthy. They actually probably should say healthy, not normal. Around 11.4 kilograms to 15.9 kilograms. So how do you feel about that when you think about that? Like, essentially growing a human and putting on that amount of weight,
It does sound like a lot now, but obviously it's happening over a long period of time.
Yes, it's not going to happen overnight. You're going to conceive and then you fall pregnant and the little things pop up on was it like a pea stick or something, and then 15 kilos later,
Hopefully not. So yeah, the fact that it's over a long period, I'm sure it won't be too scary.
Yeah, awesome. And so, and obviously this one is not very applicable to you, but it's also good to know. Excuse me, a weight gain for an overweight person is 6.8 to 11.4 kilograms. Obviously, this can vary either side. and approximately for an obese person is 5 kilos to 9.1, approximately too. And if you're lucky enough, a twin pregnancy. So you can expect to put on anywhere 11.4 kilos to around 24.5 kilograms. So, yeah, twins.
Twins. My friend just had twins, and yes, I think she was on the upper end of that.
Well, she was a pretty small person, I think.
Yes, she was. So, she had a belly that just was out here.
Oh, that's fantastic. And obviously, a bit of physical stimulus, so physical training. It doesn't have to be Ironman, or obviously I probably would recommend that, but like essentially just some physical activity is associated with good outcomes throughout a pregnancy. So, obviously with you can still do your weight training routines and things. Obviously, understand probably not to put too much impact on your central nervous system, but you can still do a healthy amount of training, and obviously if you're using the assistance of a PT, just to make sure you don't obviously get yourself in a stuck situation or a barbell or anything like that. It's a bit more safety. But no, 100%, I think it's a very good thing to keep physical training up nice and high. Great. So, Felicity, some nutritional requirements down through your pregnancy, some of the nitty-gritty stuff. So, essentially, your BMR during your pregnancy, there's no real need to increase your calories for the first trimester. Okay. Obviously, past your TDEE, total daily energy expenditure, so what you consume throughout your whole day of workings, training, reading, writing, whatever. But what is really important is to pay attention to the second and third trimester. So when you come into the second trimester, it is recommended to increase your energy intake for your second trimester to 1,400 kilojoules or 334 calories. And for your third trimester, it is recommended to increase your energy intake to 1,900 kilojoules or 454 calories. Now, with this, a lot of people sort of get a little bit overwhelmed with the amount of food, and some people in the past have essentially tried to go for a bit more dirtier options instead of, I think I can have a bit of a cheat meal then, a lot more calories to consume, but essentially that's not the way you want to do it. Essentially you want to sort of look at the food groups and think, you can get a little more lean proteins in there, whole grains, more like good things to use as possibly pastas, a little bit of dried fruit and stuff like that as well. Help get this is quite nutrient dense. I like to use the word nutrient dense. So what is your thoughts on possibly you will be having an extra couple of meals a day, essentially, or bigger meals. What's your thoughts on that? Do you like eating? Delicious. What are some of the things? How would you look at increasing your caloric intake? Obviously, understanding that you're going to be going up in protein slightly from 0.75 grams per kilogram of body weight to 1 gram of protein per body weight, which is essentially 25% increase.
Yeah.
So, what do you have in your mind, like
in terms of what I'll?
How else do you make up those extra calories? Like,
so with lean proteins, like I enjoy chicken, turkey breasts, those sorts of things. That's fantastic.
Yep.
Lean beef makes really iron.
Yeah, delicious. Eye fillet steaks and things like that. Yep.
I love filling my meals with heaps of vegetables. And I love things like sweet potatoes, whole grain pastas. Yeah.
Delicious. Yeah, awesome.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Awesome.
Sounds reasonable too.
Sounds very reasonable. That's really good. Awesome. So I would like to run with you, with you at the moment. Run with you through some of the Australian dietary guidelines of just the intakes and serving sizes, essentially through the food pyramid, if you like to call it that. So you can, this is for a pregnant woman, okay? Mm-hmm. So you can have servings 5 times a day of vegetables, legumes, and beans. Yeah. Which obviously you love your high vegetable intake and things like that. 2 servings of fruit per day, which is really good. You could even maybe time that with a bit of pre and post workout sort of thing. Get that fructose, that high sugars back, glycogen for your glycogen replacement into the exhausted muscles. Whole grain cereals up 8.5 servings a day.
Wow.
So you like whole grain cereals? Yeah, a few things there. Lean meats, 3.5 servings a day, and as you said, you sort of enjoyed your salmons and fishes and my fillets and things like that. So I'm sure you won't have a problem with doing that. Dairy, 2.5 servings a day, and discretionary items, which obviously you being a fitness and health professional, you probably stay away from.
Very rare.
Very, very rare, yeah. But you can have, obviously, I would prefer 0, but up to 2.5 servings per day. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Probably do that per week.
Per week? Well, that's good. That's a healthy habit. And so, as discussed before, your protein intake, because of the pregnancy, this is starting from the second trimester, will be from 0. Obviously, your normal protein intake for a female between the age of 19 and 50 is 0.75 grams per kilogram of body weight. So now you're looking at 1 gram of protein. So that's fantastic. So that's obviously to support growing an extra human inside you, which is awesome. And that's for the second and third trimester. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, what about carbohydrates? So there's no real requirement to increase your carbohydrates, essentially. Obviously, like, we don't want to sort of be stuck around counting calories and things. It's all an approximate and healthy servings and healthy choices. But as long as you're getting, your servings of your whole grains and your fruits and even the carbohydrates you can get from vegetables and things, I think you're going to be well and truly in the clear. So it's definitely something to look at. Another thing is fibre intake. So it is important. So a female of your stature roughly now is getting 25 grams per day. We want to increase that up to 28 grams per day. A great way of increasing this is through like psyllium husk and things, adding things like that into your oats, of increasing that. Or which is psyllium husk is also in a bit nicer form is in the Metamucil, which is like an orange cordial flavoured drink. Now they make it with 0 sugar, gluten free, and it's sweetened with stevia, and it actually tastes like Coddy's cordial you sort of had as a kid. So that's an idea to get, I think it's an extra 5 grams of fibre per serve, and you're also increasing your water intake as well, which is fantastic. And that's also something you need to do in a pregnancy. So we're about to go through that shortly. Your water increases from right now 2.8 litres a day to 3.1 litres per day. So obviously, you were saying before that yes, you do drink a lot of water, so that won't be a problem.
Yeah, I'm already around the 3.1 to 3.2 a day.
Solid, that's very good. Bloody hell, like a fish.
So would I increase that anymore or just stay at where I'm at?
Well, this is according to the Australian dietary guidelines. That would be something that I think you should take up with your GP.
Sure.
Because I can't sort of prescribe, I can only recommend what and work within the guidelines that I've been given. But I'm sure if you spoke about that with the GP, he might even refer you on to like a professional dietitian or something, and you could talk about that because you already consume X amount of water, because being an athlete and that you actually might need a higher water intake. But like I can't say, so I think the best thing for you, I'll refer you to the GP.
Yeah.
You can get talk to him about that, and that can be assessed there.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, fantastic. Also, so in pregnancy, there are a few little sticky situations that you can be caught in. One of them is morning sickness. Have you heard any horror stories about morning sickness?
Yes. Both my mum and my grandma had horrendous morning sickness. So I know, it's definitely, unless it's going to skip a generation, but I think I'm up for morning sickness.
Okay. So, unfortunately it is something that pretty much most women will go through at some point of a pregnancy, some worse than others. But so there's actually studies that show that the supplementation of ginger and vitamin B6 can actually help alleviate the morning sickness. I'm not going to say it's going to stop it, but it could make you feel better and essentially improve your day slightly. Gentle on the stomach and things. And also with morning sickness, obviously, if it gets a little bit past, a little bit more intense, essentially, if it's not the normal bout of morning sickness, if you think it's actually started to really cause some problems, do not hesitate at all to book an appointment straight to the emergency room if it's that serious, but go to your doctor, talk about it. You might be put on an extra supplement if you're vomiting a lot of the nutrients back up. You might have to, there might be additional things the doctor might have to do to make sure the baby's getting the nutrients and things. So don't at all think, oh my God, is this just normal? If it's not normal, even if it is normal and you're concerned, don't hesitate to go to a health professional, a doctor, and get that assessed. Another thing that happens during pregnancies is constipation.
Yay.
Yeah, yeah, and possibly hemorrhoids.
Oh gosh.
So again, if that was to happen, I'd say consult your doctor. But there are a few things that can help alleviate constipation. Okay, so increased fibre, which we have talked about, and water intake within the Australian Dietary Guideline recommendations for someone who's pregnant, where you will be soon.
Yeah.
So another thing that a lot of women can endure and experience through pregnancy is constipation.
Joy.
And hemorrhoids now.
Even better.
It's doesn't happen to everyone, but it can happen, and it's just good to obviously be aware of it. So a thing that we can help alleviate with the constipation is increasing fibre and your water intake within the Australian Dietary Guideline recommendations, unless otherwise consulted with your doctor if you would increase your water, essentially, higher than the average person. But essentially, these can actually help, manage these problems as sort of good alternatives, maybe before turning to a laxative or something that could actually be quite harmful again. So, and also just some physical exercise, and which you don't have a problem with doing. You're very disciplined in your regime at the moment, but yeah, definitely some water, some extra fibre, and maybe a long walk just helps stimulate, get everything moving.
That's good to know.
Good to know. Awesome. So, Felicity, from our consultation today, I hope I was able to answer the questions that you had with sort of pre and during pregnancy nutrition and just sort of a bit of a general background of how to start preparing. Have I answered those for you?
Yes, absolutely. I've learned quite a few things and things that I did know before but weren't necessarily on my mind right now.
Yeah.
And things that in particular that I need to start doing from now.
Yeah, fantastic. So I will send you a copy of everything by email. I'll get the admin lady to do that for you. Of everything that we've spoken about, plus links to all the Australian Dietary Guideline recommendations of where you're at now as a woman who is not pregnant, to preparing to conceive, to a pregnant woman of first, second, and third trimester. So you have a good understanding, and you can have all food evaluations, serving portion sizes, how you increase your proteins, and everything along the lines of that, and some basic remedies for constipation, morning sickness, and things. So all that information will be there for you. Essentially everything we've spoken about. There's a lot more that on the Australian government website that's a lot more in depth. And yes, so fantastic. All right, thank you for your time, Felicity.
Thank you, Zachary.
Thank you. Have a good morning.
You too.
Thank you.
G'day, Ben. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good to see you. How's the day going? Weather outside's been a bit cool, isn't it? Bit cool. Winter. Yeah, definitely. So, thanks for coming in for your consultation. So I just want to run a few things past you that I spoke to on the phone about the other day. So just a couple of personal details. So you are 34?
Yes.
Cool. Your weight 55.5 kilograms?
Yes.
Give or take. And your height 159 centimetres. Correct. Awesome. And your occupation? So, from memory, you're an executive assistant?
I am, for the ATO.
Awesome. And how would you describe your essentially your roles, your physical activity in that job?
In
is
the
it
job,
mandatory or is it You moving around a lot, or?
Not really. It's just sitting at a desk, computer work all day. So it's sedentary.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And just going to run over your goals quickly again, even though we did speak about this before. But you've just completed a series of bodybuilding shows in bikini and fitness.
Yep.
We've got a bloody professional model here. This is great. So one of your goals is your main goal is actually to improve in your physique and build some more lean mass.
Yep, definitely.
Awesome. Can you tell us about, tell me about sort of what you had to do to prepare for these bikini shows, these bodybuilding shows?
So the first one I did was a 16-week prep of consistent, strict diet.
Yep.
And it was a specific diet I wasn't allowed to deviate away from.
Yep.
So from there, the 16 weeks involved trying to aim to lose a bit of body fat and weight at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was quite consistent with my weight loss right up until the end.
Yep.
And I was pretty happy with my condition, but I did lose a bit of, only naturally, a bit of muscle mass. And yeah, so but the goal was achieved, and then now I'm on the gain train.
The gain train, I love the gain train. How many shows did you do? And about how long was the time period?
Yep, so I did one and then another 2 weeks later. So it was a 16-week prep plus an extra 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
So a good sort of like 4 or 5 months of continuous sort of dieting.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome. That's really impressive. A lot of people couldn't do that. So now, just running through before, your current dietary intake, calories-wise, you're sitting at around the 16 to 1800 mark per day.
Yep.
And you were able to elaborate on the macronutrients you're taking. So protein, carbs, and fat. So about 150 protein, 100 carbs, and 60 fat, approximately.
Yep, sounds right.
Okay, cool. And just checking here, we have no health issues. No allergies, and you don't smoke or drink.
Do not smoke or drink.
Fantastic. And just one last thing, what supplements, obviously being a bodybuilder, are you on specific supplements? I
am. So I'm taking L-carnitine.
L-carnitine?
And then a pre-workout stack, which is L-citrulline.
Yep. L-citrulline melanin, is that right?
Citrulline melanin, yep. Beta-alanine.
Yep.
And BCAAs. During workout. Yep. Creatine. And what else am I taking? I'm taking a whole lot of stuff. And protein powders.
Protein powder, that's normally the big one. Yeah. So, like whey protein isolate or concentrate? Whey protein. WPI. Okay, Mim, so before we get into anything, I'd just like to run through a few protocols here. Starting off with BMR, base metabolic rate.
Yep.
So from my calculations, you would roughly consume around 1,500 calories a day, so just laying there, just in a bed, doing absolutely nothing, just to sustain homeostasis.
Yep.
So pretty easy. But we need a little bit more information apart from that, because obviously you do things, you work full time, you're an athlete, you run a household, you have kids, you have other people to look after, so obviously you're going to be burning more than 1,500 calories. So then we look at your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure. So from the calculations that I put through, you're looking at around roughly, just to maintain homeostasis and your everyday jobs and just life training, everything, is around 2,040 calories approximately. So give or take either side. So looking at what you're consuming now to what you need to just maintain where you need to be, you're essentially eating in a deficit. So we're working against your goal at the moment of putting on lean mass. So essentially you need to be in a surplus of calories to sustain lean mass through obviously synthesis, through stimulus, through proper hypertrophy and strength training, and then to replenish with a substantial amount of calories to sustain that growth, or even sustain the mass that you have, and then to build on that mass. So roughly, we would like you to roughly start putting on around 0.3 to 0.5 kilos a week. Majority of this will be lean mass, but obviously you're going to have some body fat deposits as well. Like you can't just not put on body fat sometimes when you're going to be in a caloric surplus, and that's not a bad thing as well. But it's healthy to have a minimum amount of body fat. So to essentially, for you to be able to put on that lean mass, we are going to, from the calculations, we're going to need you to be consuming around 2,500 to 2,550 calories per day. So
That's
yeah.
huge amount.
So you're going to get a few extra meals in there by the
That's
sounds
a
of
lot of
things.
food.
Yeah. So do you have any ideas of some of the foods that you want to start consuming? You got an extra at least 700 calories before you
Yeah, wow.
like from sort of where you're at now. Like, you got any ideas? Like a lot of people seem to freak out. Oh my god, how am I going to eat so much? But
might have to go for the denser foods like
more nutritionally dense.
Yeah,
it's a good option. Yeah.
but I like to stick to the clean foods and
Cool. Well,
eat
you
more of that.
throw a lot of things in there like whole grain pastas and things like that. A lot of people sort of miss out on, but it's really good to sort of make up the calories with those. Lots of good natural fats, polyunsaturated, even some amounts of saturated fats you can get from coconut oil and things. Actually, really good to put in your meals. A teaspoon here and there, peanut butters, nut butters, all really good. And that's all really good for hormonal functions and things anyway.
Yeah.
So, Mim, I just was looking back here, and I just actually wanted to go over your protein intakes.
Yep.
That you previously wrote down before. So you were saying you were roughly around about 150 grams of protein a day. How do you make up that throughout the day? So that's a lot of protein.
Well, I just make sure that I've got some protein in every meal throughout the day. So and it's all spaced out.
Yep.
And that tends to keep me quite full.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because just through recommendations from the Australian Dietary Guidelines, for a woman between the age of 19 and 50, is only, on average, is only recommended about 46 grams of protein per day. So essentially, you're eating 3 times that.
Wow.
So yeah, which is not concerning, but it could be down the track.
Yeah.
So so just some of the factors of this. So too much protein in the bloodstream creates nitrogen waste in your blood.
Right.
And so essentially your kidneys have to work harder to filtrate this essentially and get rid of this. So and also having an immense amount of protein. So your liver has the ability to convert protein, so the amino acids in protein, into glucose, which is sugar. So, and this process is called gluconeogenesis, which is it's quite a cool thing the body can actually do. But it's quite a serious thing. So this can lead to like problematic health issues down the track, say like systemic infections that could also lead to autoimmune diseases and things like that. So this is something like that probably should be addressed sort of now. Look, I'm not at all saying that this is completely wrong, but I'm just saying like this is going against the dietary guidelines that have obviously specifically been here for a reason. So what I want to do, I want to recommend that you go get a blood test done at your local GP after this.
Okay.
This is just to check, because you are a technically professional athlete as well, so you're putting your body under immense stress, and it's just really good to see sort of where your blood work is at, your lipid profiles, and just to make sure there's no extra pressure being put on your kidneys and your liver. And it's also good to see where your fats are at, your lipid profiles, where your iron, magnesium, and just sort of, it's always good. I always say to athletes, they should always probably get bloods done every, say, 3 to 6 months, just as a good sort of overview. So not to stress you out or anything, but I think at a health point of view, I think it'd be very good and less taxing on your body to just start having less protein essentially, and start consuming more carbohydrates, and sort of start hitting those whole meal pastas and potatoes and rices and things, because you can afford to eat a lot of those because you train so much.
Yeah.
And so, and a lot more fats and things, polyunsaturated, saturated, monounsaturated, things like that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, awesome. So, I've just got a little bit of information here. So, according to the Australian dietary recommendations, a woman of your stature should be having around about 5 servings of vegetables, legumes, and beans per day.
Yep.
2 servings of fruit, which is I recommend that around pre and post workout as well. Very good for glycogen replenishment. 6 servings of whole grains, which is very easy to do if you start tackling the whole grain pastas and things.
Yep.
2.5 servings of lean meats, poultry, fish, eggs, nuts, and seeds, and 2.5 servings of milk, yogurt, cheeses, essentially dairy products like that. And you do 0. I prefer 0, but you can have up to like a half serve per day of discretionary items like candy bars and chips and things. But as you're a professional athlete, I don't see you having too much of those things.
Very rare.
Very rare. So, Mim, how does that sound with the food servings here by the Australian guidelines? Are you comfortable with maybe slightly altering your diet and start implementing more servings of the vegetables and the fruits and things, and maybe cutting back on that protein a bit?
Yeah, definitely. Like I can, I love my legumes, so that's easy.
Yep.
2 serves of fruit. Well, I'm cutting fruit for the kids, so hey, why not? Yeah, the whole grains are like the pasta, the rice, the brown rice, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Easy doing. Like I love making pasta. The kids eat pasta, so that'd be easy for me to prepare.
Yep.
And happy to cut down on the protein. It might do me good. And like adding a bit of fats to my diet, some nuts, and I've always been a bit wary of those because they are calorie dense and they can bring those calories right up. But I could definitely make some changes to my diet. That's easy.
Awesome. That's awesome. Cool. And so one other thing I was going to look at was actually recommending you, since you are a professional athlete and what you do, to possibly seeing a sports dietitian.
Yep.
So if you ever wanted to get professionally prescribed macro and micronutrients to complement your training, as a nutrition advisor, I can't do that. I can only give you ideas, and I can't give you X, Y, Z amount of this and this. But for someone with a high qualification, then I can.
Yeah.
So I can forward on your CC you in an email and set up an appointment with our sports dietitian.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Awesome. So one last thing, I just wanted to ask, obviously you understand training principles very well on that, but I just wanted to go over your training splits quickly that obviously complement the nutrition for you to grow lean mass. So you just want to run me through like your sort of weekly sort of training split, cardiovascular, hypertrophy, weight training.
Sure. So with cardio, I don't do a lot. It'll probably be a walk on a Sunday or a Saturday, once or twice a week. It's like maybe a 7K walk. I'm not bringing my heart rate up too high. It's just a casual walk. So on a Monday, I might do a back workout, superset that with a small body part like triceps.
Nice.
Yeah, on Tuesday I do legs, so we target hammies and quads. Do some calf work as well. On a Wednesday, I might do a shoulder workout, and that will be with a bicep workout as well. On a Thursday would be again another back workout. So I'm targeting my big areas twice a week, so my back and my legs. So legs again on a Friday, but that's more glutes and a lot of compound movements.
Awesome.
So we're doing legs twice a week, shoulders once a week, back twice a week, and small body parts here and there.
Nice. That's good. Your fundamentals of compound movements is really good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you're about to be in a caloric surplus to complement that training.
Yeah.
And so with correct training and nutrition, so stimulus and synthesis, you've only got one option, that's to grow. So awesome.
Or heavy lifting, eh?
Yeah, definitely. All right, Mem, I think that just about does us. I will email you a copy of everything that we spoke about. I'll give you a direct link to the Australian Dietary Guidelines so you can peruse through there. It actually has everything for like what kids, what like male adults, everything that sort of everyone should be consuming essentially because it covers all bases. And I will also refer you to the sports dietitian, so you can either just have a consultation like you are with me, but with them just to a higher level and a deeper understanding of the macro and micronutrients and what use that to complement your training. Anyway, Mim, thank you very much for your time. I hope I was able to explain everything.
Sure were.
Awesome. All right, thanks, Mim.
Thanks.